All right, so now, again, the roles have reversed. So the bad guy has, established a dominant position. What we talked about earlier, the same principles apply. The more we can move, the harder it's going to be for the individual to maintain this position. So an effective way to get out of this particular position is bumping and bridging. So what I mean by that is the heels will be as close to the bum as possible. And as we lift our hips towards the ceiling, it forces the attacker to post himself out. I don't know of one human being that will allow their face to plant into the concrete. They're gonna post their hands out. So we're in this position, big bump and bridge. We want his hands to post out like so. The moment that the hands post out, pick a side, left or right. For the example of this demonstration, because I'm right hand dominant and I've got a gun belt on, I wanna show you how to use this area to access through the armpit of the attacker's left side. And as we access, it's gonna give us the ability to draw if we needed to. So in an altercation, at any point, things can get dynamic and elevate. So if the escalation of force is required, we're gonna be in a position right hand dominant to draw the pistol. So once we have the hands onto the ground with a big bridge, we knock them off balance. Then we're gonna feed this space here. We're gonna feed our inside arm, if you will, to get to the outside. So we create that space onto the elbow or the armpit. As we create that space, now we're gonna move our hips in this direction. As we move our hips in this direction, the leg that's on the ground becomes light. So we're gonna use our hip to compromise this post as we move our hips in this direction, like so. So the more we lift our hips, the more distance we can travel. And again, if at any point we get into this position as we're moving and he starts to, access a tool that we haven't yet seen yet, we see a blade get introduced, this is where we can then draw and get into a position to be effective if we needed to. All right, so we don't need to be at full extension, this close range, but we do need to clear whatever it is that's gonna prevent us from drawing. So from this position, we could draw over top of the foot, no problem. He starts to reach for something is identified. You get into this position, no problem, but ideally you want to clear that thing that's going to be preventing. So he reaches for whatever it is, clears that thing, and then now we're in a position to engage if we needed to. Once again, this time in the event that there isn't a lethal strike required, same principle, he's filling us in, elbows, punches, whatever it might be. Want to protect ourselves, big bridge, get his feet, or his hands rather, onto the mat. As his hands post himself out, now we're gonna pick a spot to exit. So the space is gonna be created, we just have to find the space. So as we find the space, we're gonna move our body, frame off of the armpit here. So splaying the fingers is gonna give you some added strength and stability. So as we splay the fingers, the arm is at an outside 90, we press on the individual. As he starts to drive back into us, we can then move our hips and get into this position here. So the option to scramble back to our feet, we need to clear this thing that's in the way. In this particular case, it's the attacker's left foot. So as we clear that thing, now we're in a position to kick and strike, technical lift, strike, back to our feet, and then strike, whatever that might be. One more time, from a different angle. So the attacker sees an opportunity. He starts to fill us in with elbows and punches. We block, big bump and bridge. We're gonna create that space. As he drives back into us, we get our feet elevated, and we're in a position here to strike, get our hands up, and then now we can either attack, low line strikes, high line strikes, mixing it up, constantly keeping him on his heels.